between the Spurs and the Wolves, and it's got the drama. Check this out. Victor Wembanyama coming up with the rebound, but right there. Oh, that's brutal. Elbows Naz Reid in the neck. Take a look at this one. Slow-mo might be even worse than fast motion. Refs will review this, and he would be ejected from the game. The flagrant 2, his first ejection of his career. I'm just saying that's something worth monitoring going ahead to Game 5. So you're without your superstar. Well, how do the Spurs respond? Well, they responded fairly well until the end of the fourth. Ayo Dosunmu taking this one to the rack and one with 1:17 to go, and that's going to put this game on ice for the Spurs. The Wolves go on to win 114-109, tying this series up at 2 apiece. Anthony Edwards doing Anthony Edwards things, finishing with 36, 6, and 2. Dylan Harper leading the way for the Spurs with 24, but it's not quite enough for the Spurs. They lose their big man, and they lose their lead in the series. We're joined by CBS Sports NBA analyst John Henson. As the Wolves, they escape with the victory to tie the series up at 2 apiece, and Victor Wembanyama, probably the story of this game, being ejected in the second quarter. I want to get your take on how much did this ejection just change the temperature of this game? Because for San Antonio, you lose your superstar in Victor Wembanyama, but Minnesota also, they have to deal with the pressure of knowing they have to win if you have no Victor Wembanyama on the floor.
Yeah, we've seen the Spurs against the Trailblazers when they lost Wemby. They came back. They had a really good win. I mean, Fox, Vassell, Castle, Harper Jr., those guys can win games for you, and they almost did tonight. They ran out of gas because of Ant Edwards, man, battling through it, going to get oxygen in the tunnel. We can never count these guys out. We've said it time and time again. It's 2-2. Wemby, unfortunately, lesson learned, young playoff team. Hey, look, can't swing your elbow and get ejected and hurt your team. But the story is Anthony Edwards. And listen, he's only getting healthier day by day. The Spurs better figure out how to put this thing out of reach or win a couple more games quickly before he gets back to 100%. And then we're going to have a series on our hands.
I want to talk a little bit more about Anthony Edwards, but first, let's go back to this Victor Wembanyama ejection, because we saw there in the replay, Dylan Harper kind of shocked once he heard the news that Victor Wembanyama being ejected after that play. It sounds like I might know your answer, but did you agree with the way the refs handled this ejection?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but, because you don't want to see a play like that go out of the playoffs. But, I mean, he loaded up. He followed through above the neck. That, by nature of the rule, he needs to be ejected. And it's just unfortunate for the Spurs. They tried to pull a rabbit out of the hat, but they couldn't. Valiant effort. But, hey, look, series is 0-0 right now going home. Spurs got to win 2 out of 3 on their home court. They get to go into the next round.
If you are the Spurs, how do you handle, what's your response when you're essentially, your superstar is getting ejected? And this is, let's be honest, like, you're in a crucial spot right here. You have the opportunity to go up 3-1 in this series.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts a little bit, but this is how things go. All champions have went through it. All young teams have went through it. OKC, Game 7s, Game 6s, where it's win now or go home. They're going to have to grow up fast. And if they don't, Minnesota will be advanced to the 3rd straight Western Conference Finals. But as a Spurs, hey, look, we go back home, we regroup, flush this down the toilet. Wemby's going to come out extra motivated, minus the elbows, and I think the Spurs will be fine.
Extra motivated minus the elbows. But will they come out extra motivated? Let's say there is no Victor Wembanyama. Do you believe there could be any league discipline for him after that ejection? And if so, how does that change things?
I always tell my friends, I say, listen, this is entertainment, right? The NBA understands, they have their rules. Hey, look, flagrant 2, let's move forward. This is a physical kind of playoff battle. It happens. Lesson learned for Wemby. Glad he didn't do this maybe in the later rounds if they were down 2-1 potentially or something like that. So this was a good time for him to learn a lesson. Didn't hurt him too much. However, going home up 3-1 would have felt a lot better. Now it's a must-win. Game 5 at home. Can't ask for much more at home for a must-win, but definitely the Spurs missed out on an opportunity tonight.
Absolutely. But let's go back, because at the top you were talking about Anthony Edwards. You said the Spurs ran out of gas because of Anthony Edwards. What did you make, though, just about how San Antonio, their defensive strategy to try to contain him? It seems like he was being double-teamed quite a bit there.
Yeah, there's a reason he's one of the best players in the world. Arguably was one of the best players on the Olympic team with all the best guys. He just willed his team to victory offensively. 2 big threes to change the tide of the game. Listen, if he does not attack and take the game by the horns, they're going to lose. So Ant could barely even breathe. He had to stay on the other end of the court at one point. So look, just the warrior type mentality for him. We've seen it year in and year out. We've discounted this with Minnesota team so many times, and somehow, some way, they're tied 2-2 with an unhealthy superstar. They're in a good spot right now.
Oh, 100% you're in a good spot. If you're Minnesota and you're coming into this series being told, hey, you already know that Anthony Edwards is dealing with an injury, but hey, you're sitting at 2-2 after 4 games. But I do want to dive just a little bit deeper into this matchup, because you think about this. You have a Wemby-less Wolves team, or a Wemby-less Spurs team, facing a Wolves team that gets this win by, what, 5 points? Is that concerning to you at all? Do you leave this game feeling more encouraged by Minnesota's response, or just impressed with the Spurs fight without their franchise player?
Impressed with the Spurs fight. You're talking about an all-NBA Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, literal game changer on both ends of the court, and they had a valiant effort. I mean, if I'm the Spurs, I'm like, okay, well, we didn't have Wemby, but we played a little faster, a little more guard-centric as well. Maybe they can try to use this game to sprinkle in some of that into their game plan in Game 5, because we saw with the Portland game when they didn't have Wemby, when they sped it up and let those guards go, they're still really good. So maybe potentially they can infuse kind of their performance tonight into the next game and win at home.
Nonetheless, I mean, whether you have Wemby or not, hopefully we do, because that is must-see TV. You want to see that superstar there on the court in a very important Game 5 and at home. But nonetheless, I think it maybe raised some eyebrows. The Spurs were able to handle their own for a good chunk of that game, wasn't able to close it out, which goes to show why you need your big man. We'll see how Game 5 takes shape. That's Tuesday. We appreciate you stopping by, Henson.
Thank you.
Well, Henson talked about it. This story is about Anthony Edwards and the kind of outing that he had, especially there in the fourth quarter, finishing with 36 points, but 16 of them coming in the fourth quarter alone. Look at the rest of the Wolves team. They had 18. He was 6 of 8 shooting. They were 6 of 15. Shot 75%. Perfect from three-point land. His output essentially superseding what the rest of the team has done in the fourth quarter. And just to think, he's doing it coming off of injury. We'll see how he continues in Game 5. Drama, ejection, an elbow. Well, we'll show you how it all went down. We got highlights of the Wolves going up, actually evening this thing out at 2 apiece, and Wemby on his way out. We'll show you what went down. That's coming your way next. Series, their 7th straight playoff win. That's the longest streak in franchise history. Well, meanwhile, it's tough go for the Flyers and Sixers. Just a tough go in Philly sports in general. First pair of NBA and NHL teams from the same city to get swept in the same round since 1987. Brutal blow, but it's the Knicks who are moving on.
And I obviously didn't know how well they travel and stuff like that. But, you know, when you're, you know, because I was out of coaching, so I watched you guys every once in a while. When I say you guys, I watched ESPN and all that other stuff during basketball times. And they'd show, you know, videos of fans after a first-round win climbing light poles and crap like that, you know, in New York. And so I'm like, wow, you know, you love it. You love seeing stuff like that, you know. And so I got a lot of respect for you Knicks fans. I'm gonna applaud them too. Let's go Knicks. Great job.
I know that we travel well, and obviously being close to New York helps. It's a really cool feeling. It's something I said that I will always think is one of the coolest things in the world when you hear Knicks fans in opposing arenas, and it's a really cool feeling. I can't lie.
Everybody was begging for Philly to not sell the tickets and all that stuff. So man, yeah, I used to think Philly was a sports town. I don't know if it is anymore.
Tough jabs right there. Well, I mean, you can dish it when you're handling your business, because that's back-to-back conference finals appearances for the Knicks for the first time since the 99-2000 season. It's the first sweep in a best-of-7 playoff series since 1999. That was the conference semis against the Atlanta Hawks. Now they're moving on. They got more brooms stashed for them.
know we lost, and I know that's not the right mentality to have. But, for me, this was a success. I came into this year not knowing where I was going to be, how long I was going to play, if I was even going to play based on how the knee was the last few years. And, I came in just, hoping for the best. And I feel like we're in a position where we figured out the knee. Hasn't been an issue.
Yeah, they'll have to hope for the best next year, because now take a look at the longest active conference finals drought. The Sixers with the third longest drought. It's been 25 seasons. Their last time making it to the Eastern Conference Finals was back in 2001. They'll try to figure out what to do with their big man and what pieces to add around their young core. But the Sixers, they're headed home.